My friend Greg Joseph, welcome to this episode of my daily dose of inspiration and positive affirmation. I'm so glad to have you here today. I'm even more pleased about the conversation we'll be having, and I'm going to introduce you quickly to the listeners back home who doesn't know you as well as I do.
Perfect.
Greg is actually the current manager of TY Bar at the Four Seasons Hotel New York, where he has spent over 6 years there working, and he was also the bar consultant at the Republic Restaurant New York prior to working with the Four Seasons. He has gathered numerous certifications in culinary and hotel management, and he has also earned himself an award achievement from the ICE Institute of Culinary Education. And I'm so proud of you, my friend,
Thank you
for
so
all
much.
the achievements you've actually done so much for yourself. But yeah, you're one of the most humble person I've met in New York City. And
Thank you. I appreciate
that's
that.
why I'm so pleased to have you here today. The first question I want to ask you, and I'm sure the listeners back home will want to know, how did you get to where you are today? Like, you've done so much for yourself, but how did you get here?
So, like everything else, first of all, hi everyone. It's been a road. It's been a long road. It started when I was young. I've always had a zest for life, so I always have been passionate about food, about beverage, about the arts. I am a former dancer, so anything that includes movement, creativity, and just exploring life in general is what kind of drives me. Today, I sit as a Thai bar manager at Four Seasons. Is basically a culmination of my love for food and my love for beverage. I also have an affinity for the finer things in life, so I tend to gravitate to beautiful, aesthetically beautiful things, and things that are of great quality.
And I have to say, if you haven't visited Thai Bar at the Four Seasons, you need to go there so you understand his interest in things that are beautiful and elegant. It's an elegant place, it's an elegant bar, and every time I'm there, I feel like I'm in the mood. And also, your services there is always amazing. And one thing that keeps, and it was one of the reasons I said let's have this conversation, when you mentioned to me during our conversation the last time that you were once a professional dancer. That took me by surprise because I was like, what? You said, yes, I was once a professional dancer, and I think you as at home would want to know this. How did you transition from being a professional dancer to becoming, to going into food and beverage? Because I know people are struggling right now to differentiate between their passion and their profession.
Right. So yes, very correctly so. So there are things you grow up learning and things you grew up just liking because it's around you. I grew up in a family where my mom cooked every day. Every single night she'd make dinner. I would be at the dinner table with her. I'd be cooking with her until in my teenage years, my sister and I would cook on weekends to give my mom a break. Beverage was not so much a big thing for us. My mom does not drink all that much, but there was always some sort of beverage around. The arts, though, my older siblings were always a part of the arts. So my brother was a dancer, from where I think I got the influence to start dancing. When I moved to New York City, I attended a few dance classes, and I met this teacher who basically saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself. I knew I had good rhythm, and I knew I moved well, but after taking his class, he pulled me over and he said, "Are you a dancer? Where do you dance?" And I said, I'm not a dancer, and I don't dance anywhere, but I like to dance. And he said, "Are you sure? Because you really have a dancer's body, you have the movement, you have very good rhythm, you follow really well, and you have a lot of the basic attributes that good dancers have. you have what it takes, is what he was saying. And okay, people give you compliments every day, and you think, okay, whatever. But then I found myself in his class again about a week later.
Yeah.
And he really stood up and he stopped his class. We were doing a routine, and he stopped his class, and he said, I want you to come to the front, and I want you to do this routine again so everybody can see. And I was nervous, I was scared, I was just like, I had butterflies in my stomach. But, he went along and he played the drum, and then, I danced what he taught us and stuff, and then he stopped after it was over and he said, this is how I want everybody to dance.
So that's how you got into dancing.
That's how I got into professional dancing. So from there, I had this big conversation with him, and he said, well, I mean, you're in your late teens. I mean, typically for somebody, it's not a good time to start dancing, but you seem to have everything it takes to continue dancing if you wanted to. If you wanted to learn like professional basics and build on that, I'm more than happy to tutor you and to help you through it. And I thought, great. I'm trying to find myself still. I'm still trying to figure out where I want to go in life.
Yeah.
It's somewhere to go in life. So I decided, you know what? I want to do this. And his name is Ned Williams, and he's a former dancer of Catherine Dunham. And to him, I owe every ounce of what I know in professional dance. Every plie I've ever done, every releve I've done, every movement of my arm, every African beat, everything that I've learned in dance, he's taught me. And I'm eternally grateful to him.
Wow. And I mean, I have to point this out to the listeners back home. One thing is, there are certain gifts we have within us that we don't even realize we have, and it has to take another mentor or someone else to help us bring it out in us.
Yeah.
You were already in the line of professional dance, you were already in professional school dancing, and then you realize, I love dancing, but I really, really love food and beverage. How did you make that transition, and what were some of the challenges you made during that transition? I'm sure you were questioning yourself at some point, like, do I really want to lose dancing, or do I really want to focus on food and beverage?
Right, absolutely right. So food and beverage is where I worked in while I danced. So while I paid myself through school, this is what I did to keep me afloat.
Just like Ozo.
Yes, exactly. So I was a host, I was a server, I was a bartender. I did everything in between.
Yeah.
And doing all of these jobs, of course, you're gonna gain some type of knowledge in between, as you go along. Always had a love for food, so I always, took a keen interest in food, in types of food. And then I was exposed to liquor and the different types of liquor, and that in itself was very fascinating to me. Even wine. And so finding the balance of dance and work was, hard enough.
Yeah.
Because I was a very dedicated dancer. I danced on weekends, especially. I had 7-hour days in a dance studio.
Wow.
It was stretch, it was this, it was ballet, it was tap, it was everything all together. However, a part of me kind of knew that this was not what I wanted to do in the grand scheme of things for my future. And there was something else that I felt a little bit more passionate about, that I loved on a slightly higher level, and that was food and beverage. So once I got into the beverage side of things, and I started learning about whiskey, and I learned about scotch and vodka and tequila and cocktails in general and stuff, I was, my eyes started opening wider
this
and
is
wider.
what I
and
want
wider.
to do. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
Exactly. And the world of wine is vast, and it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I found the hook. I found what I don't think I could actually let go of, even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I eat every day. I drink every day.
Yeah.
So you really can't.
It's part of your life.
It's part of my life. And it's a bigger part of my life being part of my profession.
And it's interesting that this is something that you found just trying to get something to do while you did what you thought you were going to be doing.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting. So I want to make sure that the viewers capture this point, that while you are working on your profession, your career, or even some of the ideas you're thinking right now, if an opportunity comes your way to do something else, please take it, because you never know where you will end up. You never know what you're going to find, the kind of love and attraction you will find in those little opportunities, because you found your professional career in just a side hustle that you wanted to use to get by in life.
Right.
And it became something you really love, and you found out that was what you were meant to do.
Exactly.
So one other question I would like to ask you is, you're in a profession that is very high end, very competitive, very demanding, and you are a young black immigrant man in this environment. None of those titles actually adds a benefit to you. It adds more challenge, but still you've been able to make it to a certain level of your career with all of this resume that you have, and you still stay very humble. I want to know what are some of your secrets to your success.
So being grounded is one of them. Being grounded, knowing who I am as a person. Who I am as a person isn't what my profession is. Who I am
I hope someone is tweeting that, because I'm tweeting that.
Well, yeah.
Who you are as a professional person is not who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You have to find out who you are as a person. So that you bring that to your profession.
Exactly. You flourish when you know who you are, as opposed to you trying to find out what about me is going to make me great. No, you're already great. You're already great. We're all already great within ourselves. We just need to find the things that could bring that greatness out
to life.
And for me, it's yes, having worked at Four Seasons and in different places and being a dancer, I really don't consider these individual things me. I am an encompass of all of these things. These are all a part of me. These are all the little things that kind of put together the puzzle of me.
Now you see how I'm smiling with a big smile? Because it kind of makes sense, everything I see in you when I come to the bar every time. Because you are all so humble. Every time I come there, I think maybe you are the server or the metro dean, but you are everything.
Yeah.
And yet you are the manager.
Yeah. I clean tables. I sweep the floor. I walk around with, trays of of everything. I am no better than my team.
You are no better than your team.
That's powerful. And I am a part of my team.
Yes, you are.
I lead my team, but I have to be the example by which they are led. I have to be that person. And yes, humility plays a big role, because I grew up not having come from a rich family, but my mom was affluent in love.
Yes.
In love. Grew up with manners, respect, learning to appreciate your elders, learning to appreciate the things that you have and less about the things that you want to have. Just being a person of service to the world, of service to your brothers and sisters, the people in your community. She is a woman of great kindness and of great humility herself.
And I'm so blessed you raised a friend for me, because you of course you're sitting here today, and hopefully someone listening to you back home is speaking from this, because I've just picked a lot from you, that you are part of your team. And you are no better than your team, and you lead by example.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's powerful. And I know definitely you are only leading by example because your mom raised you by example.
Yeah.
And I'm so appreciative of that, because it's not something that is actually common these days. But one last question I would like to ask you before I end this episode is, a lot of viewers at home, young, old, mid-age right now, are struggling. I personally was at that point where I was struggling in my career decision, trying to choose amidst all the things I really love doing. I was once a computer science student, but now in media. Choosing that lifelong career goal versus the thing you just enjoy doing. You've done it. You've chose food and beverage. over dancing.
Right.
And I'm sure you went through a lot of challenges. What are some of the words of wisdom you will leave people with?
Words of wisdom. Well, first, I don't even think I'm wise, but you know, I follow a lot of what I consider enlightened people.
Yes.
You know, in business, in spirituality, Deepak Chopra. I love Richard Branson, Oprah Winfrey, a few people who, you know, a lot of the things they actually live by and they preach are actually, you know, they resonate to me. So what I will leave people with is that, you know, find in yourself what makes you happy. First of all, happiness for yourself actually counts for a lot more than people think. So you find in yourself what makes you happy. And from finding what makes you happy, you will find what actually works for you. You will find out whether, you know, you already have a base of this or whether it's something you need to pursue. So if you just like computers, but you actually are, you know, Oprah Winfrey is your mentor because she built this empire of media, and this is where you think you're at, this is probably where you should be. You know, computer science is where you're at, but, you know, start building on your media skills, on what you think you can do, you know, to bring you to that level, and keep working at it. You have to keep working at it. That's one other thing. You can't keep putting your dreams on hold. You actually need to action them. You actually need to do something for it to come into reality. I took a long time to do a lot of things and make a lot of things a reality for me, but that's long gone. I am working on a few things that, you know, maybe at some point in time, Ike and I will
we'll come back and have
again.
A conversation about that.
And she will revisit this episode.
Yes.
So I remember you told me something else was going to happen.
Absolutely.
And then we can definitely talk about that. But never let the dream die. Keep it alive and never stop working.
Wow. I could not have ended this episode in a better note. Like, that's the key. You have to find out what makes you happy. And if you already forgotten what Greg said, you need to find out who you are as a person and bring that to your profession, because that's what's going to make it flourish. Don't expect to find happiness in your profession. You bring happiness to that profession.
Perfect.
Because that's how you're going to find the best of it. That's how you're going to get the best out of it.
Absolutely.
And everything that is around you and everything that you do doesn't make you. They actually are a piece of you. So just make sure you understand who you are as a person, what you love. If you have a dream, find a mentor, like you said. Whoever that mentor is, just make sure they have everything you are aiming to have, and start building on your dream. Don't make it die.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was a good summation of this 30 minutes.
Because I listened to you in our conversation, I feel like I'm getting better as a person in every conversation we have on this show. That's the reason why I love this show so much, is I learn from every guest that comes here. Yeah. I'm a better person, and I hope the listeners back home feels the same way. And I'm so pleased that you honored my invitation to be part of this show. I can't wait to see what's in store for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You
I am pleased that you asked me.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and please follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube with gifts_Patrick_. Bye.